Alright, got a clean slate. Alright, now we're going to look at this. We're going to try to mock this up, see what we got going on here. Alright, so first thing to do is get this out of here. Number two. Okay, so we're pretty much stuck with the Evo tall deck, big bore left case because it fits. That's a big plus. So, no matter what, we got to use outside. Okay. So this one here is our big bore motor. Now this is not going to work on the big bore. It's going to have to be, this whole case has to go that way and made taller. But I want to get an idea what we're looking at here for fitment. Okay, so that's about how close the alignment of this case is to looking down that bore. We're pretty close. The rotation's off though. Got these dowel pins in the way over here fighting me. Okay, let's see. So we're going to line up our center V here. See the gap in here, the gap over here looks pretty equal also. Now we just got to look at our height. And height is maybe slightly tall. Of course, as soon as I touched it, it dropped on me. Okay, I'm going to guess that's about where we're going to sit. Alright, fill tip. Getting late, 1:30. Plan, this is plan for me. See, now I won't be able to sleep for a week because I'll be thinking about how to make this work. Now that really big bore, this motor mount's going to be going away. It has to come back more too. This motor mount we'll be able to keep, but this one I got to lose. This has to come back. Okay, so we're there on that. So we're going to want to take this and add material in this case here to match up to this case. That's what we're really going to want to do. Nice straight line there, huh? So you just weld this through here like that, and that will match this to this. That's the easiest way of fixing that problem. This you cut off, you don't need it. You got the motor mount here. This one here, this motor mount is going to have to be welded up and moved. The hole's going to have to come back to here probably because this bore is going to change by this much. So this whole section has to come out this. It'll come out at least the height of this pin, minimum, for the motor mount to work. And then you have to cut the frame on your bike right in the middle of the frame right there and widen it by whatever you're doing this by, and it'll fit into your Harley frame. So you cut the top, cut the bottom, widen them out, spigot, put the sleeves in the middle, weld it back together, and that's how you make a frame a little bit longer to make this work. Simple. If it's a custom frame, you might be able to do the mounts themselves. Okay, now this part here though, surprisingly this lines up pretty close down there. I wasn't expecting that to be that close. Now we know we got to put a spacer in here that's 1 inch and something wide, about 1.5 inches to make it work. So what you do is you take a plate and you make it the shape of this mount where you want it to be, and then that plate's going to be 1.5 inches thick, so you'll actually be able to bolt it to this and then have the other bolts this go into that plate. So you can take a plate, adapter plate, bolt it to this case, and then take another plate, and then take this case and bolt to that plate. With 1.5 inches of thickness in there, there's room for the bolts to be away from each other. And that's how you can easily make this thing a lot wider than what it is, because it's going to have to grow up a little bit. And you wind up cutting this off a little bit to make room for a big thick plate, because you need to have about this much thickness to here. So whatever this height here is, a couple inches. Let's say you had this here, plate right here. So this is roughly 1.5 inches. This is probably more like 2, so that's 2 inches thick. Now we know we're going to have to add to this a little bit, but I'm not sure how much. Right now we were at 4 5/8 inches. So that's probably enough to bolt that cylinder on there right now. This distance in here, I didn't measure before I took it apart. So it's going to be whatever that dimension is there. It's about 2 1/4. So it's going to be about 4 1/2. Yeah, so 4 1/2 inch spigot diameter. We're a little bit more than that right now. So right now we're only adding a 3/8 inch plate in here to get the distance we need. Maybe a 1/2 inch plate. That's not enough to obviously do our motor mount. So if we took it and we took a piece like this, we cut off all this metal right here, and then you just bolted this piece onto here, and this would be your adapter, this 1.5 inches. And you could bolt this piece to this. You take this plate here, you counterbore out like they did right here. You run the bolts into here wherever the bolts line up. Bolt that sucker down into that. Then you go over here where this mount sticks out, and you would have this bolt would thread into that bolt. As long as that bolt don't hit this bolt, we can actually use this existing bolt hole right here in the case, and this one also here, to bolt that plate, bolt this right side case to our adapter plate. And because these are threaded all the way down, yeah, see, these can be drilled and tapped whatever we need to be deeper in, so it can go in this deep. Yeah, this will have to go in there about that deep. So you could use this here, existing holes, to do that. And then that would adapt all of that. When you got to the front over here, all this stuff here, you're not going to be able to use this filter anymore, so you have to cut that all out, get out of our way. Because this would have to go into here like this, and the board comes way out, so this filter becomes way too short. So you have to do some kind of an offset filter over here and then come out that way, whatever. This here doesn't really matter. Wherever we want to put a bolt through here, we can, because this is real thick. It's still probably 3/4 inch thick in the middle. So you cut that down. The adapter plate would bolt to that, if there's enough thickness, because we'd be cutting that away a lot. So, anyways, and then you just cut off the excess right here in the front. Just lop that right off, because you want to be able to use this mount right here. So, however this works out, you cut all this out right through here, or however you want to do it. Get rid of this piece of crap. I would just cut it right through here and cut it right through here for now. Get it out of here. But anyway, that would work on that case, so it wouldn't be too awful hard to do that and make things line up. So we're just going to need a big chunk of aluminum. Anybody got any aluminum they're not using? It could be 7075 T6, I'm not welding on it. Or it could be 6061 T6, which is weldable. So basically I need a plate that's about, I've got to pick up this hole right here. It's going to have to be at least 14 inches minimum. That's assuming we can use this front mount without moving it. So 14 by 12 would be pushed in. Well, actually, we're not using the center. That's right. It doesn't have to be anywhere near that high. 12 inches. 12 by 14 inch plate, 2 inch thick, 1.5 inch thick, 1 3/4 thick. That's the kind of material I'm looking for. And then I could bolt all this right on it. So that'd be a big chunk of the material. So anyway, we could do that, and that would be pretty stout. And I don't know what we're going to do about a crank. That's going to be a whole nother issue. One problem at a time. Let's get the motor bolted together, then we'll figure out the crank issue. It's going to have to be wider than stock, though. Depends on how much wider it has to be. Alright, so that looks pretty close on that one, so I think that's a doable motor. Alright, I got the blueprint in my head. Alright, let's go to the next one.